You see what I'm talking about? Your sensory factors help you correspond and communicate with your outside world. Now, in your conscious mind, as we're going to find, you also have intellectual factors. You've got the ability to think, and you can think anything you want to think, and you think in pictures. Now, if I'm sharing an idea with you, which I'm doing right now, I am attempting to form images in your conscious mind. Now, as these images come to your conscious mind, because you can think, because you do have a reasoning factor, you can accept or reject anything you hear. There's a great book written by Dr. Viktor Frankl. He was a Jewish psychiatrist that spent the war years in a camp, and he was subjected to a respectable amount of physical and intellectual abuse. But it was while he was in the camp that he became aware that no one could cause him to think something he didn't want to think. He wrote a book on it called Man's Search for Meaning. You and I have the ability to choose our thoughts. If you see a headline in the paper that said the economy's going down the tubes, and that comes into your consciousness, you can reject that. You don't need to get emotionally involved with that idea. If someone says something to you that's unpleasant and you don't want to get emotionally involved, just reject it. We choose the images that we accept and the ones we reject. Now, unfortunately, as little children, we were actually conditioned to live from the outside in. As we go through this program, I am going to encourage you to switch that around and begin living from the inside out. Do you know that's what the Bible teaches you? The Quran, the Torah, the Bhagavad Gita, all the good books tell us to go inside, live from the inside out. But we've been programmed from our childhood to live from the outside in. We get a report card, and we look at the report card. And if the numbers on it aren't too good, in school, we think we're not very good as a student, that we're missing something. The truth is, the report card just tells us where our mind was at for a very short period of time, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. Has absolutely nothing to do with our potential. We have infinite potential, and we want to start to think that way. As we go along, we're going to start to go inside. The conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject. So, as you go through the program, you're going to see the graphic illustration that we refer to as the stick person, and it's all the way through our program. So as you're driving along or you're walking along, if you look at another person, begin to look at their head as their mind and everything from the neck down as being the body. You know, I have formed the habit of doing this. If I were to sit down and talk to you, immediately I would have an imaginary line from ear to ear. And everything above that line would be your conscious mind. And I'd be attempting to get your conscious attention. And because I know how your conscious mind works, I could probably be successful without too much trouble. Now, let's go below that imaginary line. That's called the subconscious mind. Do you know the subconscious mind has no ability to reject? It'll accept anything you give to it. It's like a magic area, and it's inside of us. It'll accept anything. Doesn't matter what it is. It's not able to differentiate between what's real and what's imagined. Your subconscious mind, if you wanted to get technical about it, you could say it's totally deductive. It has absolutely no ability to reject. It can only accept. So whatever gets into that part of your mind affects your entire body. Just see, your body is an instrument of your mind. The body is an instrument of the mind. When you see a body moving in a certain direction, what you're really watching is the body expressing what's going on in the mind. If you watch a person, they start this and stop it, they start that and stop it, they go here and then they turn around, they go there, and they're all over the place. It's obvious their mind is in a state of confusion, and that confusion is being expressed in their action. Get into a person's automobile. It frequently looks like some of the people that you know are moonlighting in the garbage business. I mean, the automobiles is totally upside down. Do you know that gives you an indication of what's going on in their mind? Another person, you'll get in their automobile and everything is just perfect. What have you got there? You've got an orderly mind. You go into their home, there's order. Our mind is what determines what's going on in our outside world. Now, the subconscious mind will accept anything, and the images that you accept on a conscious level and impress upon the subconscious mind, they control the vibration that your body's in. Now, this may be new terminology to you. You may have never thought of your body being in a vibration. Hold your hand up in front of you. actually look at your hand. I'm looking at mine right now, and you've got to admit it looks solid, but you want to know something? At the very best, it's a sieve. It is a mass of molecules and a very high speed of vibration. And you know that you've got the ability to alter the vibration it's in? Now, the vibration it's in is going to determine how you feel. When you ask a person how they feel, what you're really saying is, what vibration are you in? And they will tell you, if they're consciously aware of being in a negative vibration, they'll probably tell you they don't feel that good. If they're consciously aware of being in a very good vibration, they'll probably say, I feel pretty good. We can control our own feelings. We control our feelings by virtue of the images that we build in our consciousness and turn over to our subconscious. So now, let's get the picture. I want you to visualize your head as your mind. You've got that imaginary line running from ear to ear. And above it, I want you to start to build a beautiful picture. I want you to see yourself very wealthy. You are clothed in the finest garments that are available to man. They are absolutely beautiful garments. You see that in your mind. You are driving a very luxurious car. You're living in a beautiful home. You're able to take magnificent vacations. You see an opulent lifestyle. You build a picture of that. Now you can take and let that picture sink right into your subconscious mind. And do you know that if you would continually do that, that's the way you're going to end up living? Because it's the images that you impress upon your subconscious mind that controls the vibration you're in. And you know, as you listen to The Secret, all the way through The Secret, they talked about thinking in a certain way and attracting it into their life. If you held that image and you kept getting emotionally involved in the image, because that's what getting emotionally involved means. It means turning the image over to the subconscious mind. You move into that vibration, and instantly and automatically, attractive force moves into motion. And you begin to attract to you all things requisite to the fulfillment of that picture. I know this works because I do it. When I first started to study this material, I was earning $4,000 a year, and I owed $6,000. I had no formal education. I had no business experience, and I was working at the best job I had ever had in my life. I was a firefighter with the East York Fire Department. That's a suburb of Toronto. And I probably thought I was going to stay there for the rest of my life until I was introduced to this material. And my life began to change. And you know, in a relatively short period of time, my income went from $4,000 a year to $175,000 a year. And then it went over $1 million a year. I was on a call last night with a man named Alex Mendozian. He's a marketing genius, this man. And he was telling the audience in the conference call that we were on how he was earning $68,000 a year. And he left his job in the eastern part of the United States and moved to the San Francisco area where his family lived. He and his wife had a couple of little children, and they wanted the children to be around the grandparents. And he had listened to a recording that I made that said you can actually turn your annual income to a monthly income. And he said he began to think, how can I turn my annual income to a monthly? He didn't think he couldn't. He began to think of how he could. And you know, he said, I actually did it. I earned $68,000 in a month. And he said I did it 2 or 3 times. And then it was just a matter of doing it 12 times a year. And he shared with the audience that he's actually done that in an hour. And he's done it 16 different times. See, there's no end to what you and I can do. I want to recommend that you begin thinking of turning your annual income into a monthly income. I was working with a business associate of mine, Wolfgang Sonnenberg. We were in Hamburg, Germany. His company offered $1 million bonus for anyone that could reach a certain sales level. He immediately went there and did it. And in a meeting, I asked him, Wolfgang, when did you decide that you were going to earn that $1 million bonus? He said, the minute they announced it. He said, I figured if they're going to give it away, I would take it. Now, do you know there were tens of thousands of other people operating in that same organization? But nobody else made that decision. Why did he make that decision? Because he wanted it. And he had an idea. He had an awareness that if he wanted it and saw himself with it and got emotionally involved in it, that he would attract everything that was required for the manifestation of the picture. What do you want? What do you really want? Now, we've invested a bit of time discussing the mind. Let's take a look at the third aspect of our personality. You've got the conscious mind, the subconscious, and you have the body. The body is the instrument of the mind. It obeys the operations of the mind. It will do whatever the mind tells it to do. The body is a delicate plastic instrument. It is a mass of molecules in a high speed of vibration. If we keep the body vibrating in harmony with God's laws, it will stay healthy. And if we don't, it will break down. Now, we've got the ability